All right.
Freaking me out.
Blog Talk Radio.
Here we go with the Go Pro Fantasy Show. I'm your host, the Fantasy Geek, fan of the Turducken. All right, it's a short week, so there's a ton of knowledge we need to cram in to get ready for the trio of Thanksgiving games and beyond. But before we do, we're going to talk to a couple of special guests. We've got a twofer interview, our first one. We have Kyle Buchanan and Joe Moline, I believe it's pronounced.
Yeah, it's Broseph and Biddle.
They are Tier 1 owners in the PFL. What franchise do you guys run?
Actually, Broseph's got the Daewoo Lanos teams. He's got like 8 of them, including one in the Tier 1. I actually don't have any Tier 1 teams. I'm actually in Tier 3 with Gary Madison. Yeah, hopefully be there. Probably not after this year because my teams are terrible. But maybe in a couple of years I'll be up there in Tier 1 with the big boys.
There you go.
So I have the Gary Madison teams.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Tier 3, I have a Tier 3 team, and I haven't really looked around at the competition too much. To be honest with you, I'm focusing more on my Tier 2 team because I want to get up there with the big boys starting next year. All right. So Daewoo Lanos, I notice, is in pretty prime position for a playoff run, 7-4, coming off of a solid victory. Well, kind of a lucky victory, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was pretty lame.
We had a final score here of 58-54. So, yeah, you'll take the W, but what happened? Explain to me what happened there.
Hold on a second.
You got to turn your radio down and your kids.
Yeah. All right. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, man. Sorry. What's up?
I was just, we were going to start off with a quick look at the Daewoo Lanos and what happened in Week 11 for you. You took out the Germaniacs. Obviously, Matt Ryan was imploded, but what else was
barely. I had Chris Johnson on bye, and Percy Harvin got traded for Julio, but then Julio had the bum ankle issue, so my team really didn't do much. And then Forte got shut down on Monday night, so I barely got the win, but a win's a win, so oh well.
Yeah, I got to say, I've been kind of an outside observer of the Tier 1 teams, and just looking at the rosters, I have always been fond of the guys you have and the squad you've put together. Matt Ryan is getting it done at quarterback overall, even though not this week. Forte, solid at running back. You've got Chris Johnson, who's rebounded. Even got McFadden there if he ever decides to heal up. And then the wide receiving squad core is pretty tight, too, with A.J. Green, Mike Wallace, and Julio Jones when healthy. So, yeah, I do like your chances to make a run.
Yeah, it's pretty wide open right now. I mean, the only other teams that I'm really worried about is the Tier 1 imports and the Confused Octopi. I think Teddy KGB has the best record, but he's probably got the 5th or 6th best roster. He's just been lucky on matchups. So I think Jurassic Pork has a better team than he does, and he's only 3-8.
I know. Yeah, some rough luck there.
Yeah.
So Kyle, what's gone wrong in Tier 3 for you this year?
Everything has gone wrong for me. One of my team, Gary Madison 2, has the third most points against, so there's not really much I can do about that. It's just bad matchups. Every time I play a team, I get their biggest week. The other teams, I had one team that was top of the division for a while, and then Big Ben went down, ended up tying because he went down, and then this week I started Cam Newton. He actually had an all right week, but the rest of my team pretty much laid an egg, and injuries just plagued all my teams all year long. So
what's your record right now?
They're all the two teams that don't have the huge points against are right around 500. The one team that has all those points against, I don't really want to talk about because that's terrible.
Tell us you're at least in the win column.
I think he's 3-8 in that one. He doesn't want to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I have a couple. Yeah, 3-8 in that one. Not
be
good.
proud of that.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do when everyone's putting up like 120 points on you, and your team really isn't that great anyway.
Yeah.
So I took a lot of reaches on guys this year, thinking they'd have big years, and unfortunately a lot of them aren't planning out. Plus, like I said, injuries are just killing me. All my guys are getting hurt.
Yeah, that's been going around, especially the last couple of weeks. Joe, how are your non-Tier 1 teams doing?
They're doing good. I got they're all up either going for first or a wild card spot for the playoffs. I got the number 2 ranked team right now, one of my Tier 3 teams, and I actually had another Tier 3 team that got dominated by the Dancing Chub Toads this week. So
he had a chance to take over that first spot, and he blew it against the Chub Toads last week.
Well, those Chub Toads, they'll get you.
Yeah, it was it's like a 115-pound female that beat me, too. That's what's embarrassing, but oh well.
Yeah.
So wait, let me ask you this. I'm a little unclear. I'm new to the PFFL this year, and I think you guys have a little more experience. What happens if you were to maintain your Tier 1 team and then get a second team into Tier 1? Like, can you have multiple Tier 1 teams at the same time?
No, you can only have one in Tier 1, and I'm not sure how it works for Tier 2. I believe that you're only supposed to have one per tier, but the commission's trying to fill up Tier 3 this year. But I could be wrong. I mean, it could be where you have to have maybe just one per league, so you could have 4 Tier 2 teams. I'm not really sure. I guess I got to watch some more of those videos put out by Paul.
Yeah, those are classic.
Yeah.
All right. So also one other question, me being a newbie here, and in the thick of a couple of playoff races in Tier 2 and Tier 3, 4 teams make the playoffs, right? So it's the 3 division winners and 1 wild card, which is just the best remaining record, right?
I think that wild card is based off of the power rank.
Oh, it is.
I mean, I might not be right, but that's the way it was minded. I understand that the division winners get in, and then the highest ranked power ranked team is the 4th one.
I think now that you mention it, I think I do remember reading that in the rules, and I think that's actually better because
the formula that's been put together for that is amazing. I mean, the power ranking's awesome.
Yeah, and it's better to take all those things into play other than just wins and losses. I've actually got another league, a league I'm commissioner of, a 12-teamer, that the team with the most points is actually in last place. And they would normally have no shot at making the playoffs in most leagues, but our league, fortunately, has a rule that the team who scores the most points automatically, like even if their record isn't good enough, they automatically get that last playoff berth. So, yeah, sometimes luck isn't on your side, and you gotta kind of even things out and make it fair.
Yeah, it'd be a nice rule. I kind of like that. Maybe next year you can run that by the commish.
Yeah, well, I mean, the power ranking thing to get someone in is good too. I mean, I'm sure record is a big part of it. But at least it's not just record. So if you have 2 teams that are tied, it looks at the whole schedule, who they played, and I'm sure in points scored and points against and all that good stuff. All right.
That's one. Sorry. I was just gonna say that's one of the nice things about the PFFL is when you do score tons of points and you're not winning, you can still actually win money too. There's money for, most points and power rankings and stuff like that. And unlike most leagues where it's just a payout at the end of the year, you get money all year long from the PFFL. So it's kind of nice and one of the good reasons to be in the PFFL.
That is true, and if you go to the site and you go to earnings tracker, you can see which teams have made money and how much they've made, and it actually has like a history over the years, I think. And you can even get a few bucks here and a few bucks there by talking some smack. And I'm actually mad at myself that I haven't talked more smack, because the few times I've thrown something up there this year, I've actually scored some money, so I should do it more. It's free money.
It's kind of an underutilized tool. A lot of people don't use the smack talk stuff and miss out on free money. I know that old Broseph uses it probably more than anybody, and I think he's raked in quite a few bucks using it. He has a little rants he likes to go off on.
Yeah, well, I like to win, and I like money, and I like winning money, so the PFFL just made sense. So
absolutely, and because I'm always looking at the scoreboard in Tier 1, so I'm always looking at the smack talk that goes in here, and it says right now, I'm looking at it, it says someone didn't read my article this week where I said Reggie Bush was worthless. So I think that's you talking shit to the Germaniacs who started Reggie Bush and got a whopping 3 points.
No, that was I think that was Teddy, that Teddy KGB guy. He's
the one who put that in there?
Yeah,
it doesn't attribute who said it. I assumed it was you because you won the game and you were the opponent.
Yeah, he must put out some kind of SI article or something on Reggie Bush. I'm not sure. So I thought it was pretty funny though, the post.
Yeah, there's some good ones. Renton Rain Dogs have some good smack. You guys, Daewoo definitely is up there. But definitely makes it, fantasy football is supposed to be fun, and that makes it more fun. Plus, it just makes you want to beat the crap out of your opponents even more.
Definitely.
So how did you guys find out about the PFFL?
I found out about it from actually a couple of years ago. It was my first year playing, but I heard about it a few years ago when Broseph started up. It actually started with Commish put together one of his buddies, the PFFL midwife, Colin Mills. He has a few teams, and he kind of got us all involved. We're all buddies out here. So he kind of brought us all in. I think he's brought in like half the PFFL, which is why he's the PFFL midwife.
Yeah, he roped me in 3 years ago, and he's on the recruiting hunt nonstop, trying to get this thing to go.
Nice. Yeah, well, we all hope it does go viral, because that's more money, and I think, as Joe mentioned earlier, he likes to win money. So
awesome.
I know that we're recording this at 12:30 Pacific time, and I think, based on our email exchange, that Kyle, you just woke up. So what does that mean you do for a living? I'm sure you're not coming off a big Monday night bender.
Actually,
well, maybe you are.
Yeah, just drinking some Bloody Marys all night long. No, I worked last night. We're living in the mom's basement, so we were just working GameStop. I was just stocking some shelves last night. Play lots of video games and stuff like that. But
I'm a scientist too on my spare time.
Yeah, he's a scientist, right? So we're just trying to, earn money through the PFFL mainly. Just supplementing our job, and I'm not doing a very good job this year. Bros is having a little more luck than I am. But just
No, that's all good. I like GameStop. I haven't been there though since purchasing Oblivion. And
that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was, but that game was so big, and I'm busy doing podcasts and stuff that I barely scratched the surface. So.
Yeah, I bet.
Anyway, it was a great game. And then, so Joe, what did you say you were doing in your spare time?
I live in Kyle's mom's basement as well, but I don't really get paid by GameStop, but I help Kyle out at night, and then kind of a freelance guy, make a buck here, make a buck there. Pretty much that's about it.
Sweet.
Just mainly fantasy sports is a big source of income. Pretty much his life.
Hey, if you can swing it, that's why that's where we got our name for the PFFL, the Professional Fantasy Football League, because someday someone is going to make a living winning this whole thing. Yeah, I just keep picturing Wayne's World, you guys down there in the basement.
Yeah, we have separate bedrooms, just so you know. We don't share a room or anything like that. You know, you got a little wall between us. And so.
Hey, I'm not
Kyle has
judging.
to knock before he comes into my room. He just can't walk right in.
I'm not judging.
Yeah. If the sock's on the door handle, I know not to knock.
I've seen some pretty shaky things in my college days, so you know, whatever floats your boat. But speaking of the basement, I'm guessing that's where you guys record your rankings show, which was on earlier in the season. I was digging the whole sunglasses and beer bottles vibe, but the show seems to have disappeared from the homepage. So what happened there? Too busy to keep it going, or what's the deal?
Yeah, you know, I went on vacation for a week. I went down to New Orleans and partied on Bourbon Street for a week, and so we missed that week, came back. We did one show for the Halloween special, and then I think it's been 2 weeks without a show. I think we're going to get together this week and get it back going. We've just been super busy. Brosa's doing science things a whole bunch, trying to be a scientist.
Bunsen burners.
Learn math and stuff like that. So I think we're going to do the rest of the season and hammer those videos out the rest of the year.
There you go. All right, well, I look forward to that. All right, as we come to the end here, I have been giving all the guests a chance to talk some smack. So, we'll start off with you, Kyle, and we'll build up to Joe, who has probably a little bit more relevant situation given that he's challenging for the playoffs in Tier 1. But I will give you a chance, Kyle, to call your shot for the future and tell people the hurt they're going to feel in coming seasons.
Wow. Well, you know, I wish I could talk smack this year. I can't really, you know, maybe at the beginning of the season. You know, the only thing I can really say is that, you know, if you play Gary Madison 2 and you don't put up 120 points, your team pretty much sucks because everybody puts up 120 points against me. It's about all I got right now because my season's been so terrible, but Broso's kind of the smack talk extraordinaire, so I will let him do his little thing over there.
All right, let it rip.
Oh, am I up? You know, I don't even know where to start. No, I don't have much to say. I'm just hoping to make the playoffs in Tier 1. Like I said, I've been bit by the injury bug, so I'm just hoping that this Teddy KGB guy somehow flames out and doesn't make the playoffs because I just hate his team. I hate everybody on it. So
he's kind of your enemy in that way. You guys talk back and forth a bunch, huh?
Yeah, not really. We don't really go back and forth that much, but I just don't like his players. So I'm sure he's a nice dude and all, but his team sucks. So I want them to flame out. And Seattle Seahawks, you need to do something with your roster. You have no running back, so maybe trade Calvin Johnson and try to get some depth. There's Jurassic Pork. He's 3-8. I think I'd be 11-0 if I had that roster. So I wish you'd give me the control of it. That thing is just stacked. That's the point monster right there. And Tier 1 imports, I'm worried about them. I think they have a good shot at one of the $2,000, but we'll see. That's about it.
Hey, what about the Chub Toads?
Oh, that's Tier 3. I'm not even worried about that. Peanuts.
Yeah, I hope she makes the playoffs and she's in there all year. In the championship game, she's just blowing out like 120 to 40 or something.
Yeah,
heartbreak.
Is that that wouldn't happen to be the franchise run by the midwife's wife, would it?
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah,
we had Colin on earlier, and he was explaining how his wife was basically running off with the power rankings, and even ahead of him. So
he's trying to corner the market because I think the number 1 power rank team in Tier 3 jumps to Tier 1 next year.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
So he's assuming if he could hold on to a Tier 1 spot and then she would leapfrog and get in Tier 1 as well, of course they'd be, both in Tier 1 playing for a lot of cash.
Right. Well, this year the prize is $2,000 for first, for Tier 1. So, Joe, if you walk away with the title, grab the stack, what are you going to do with it? Science project?
Yeah, I might upgrade my gaming system, maybe. Maybe spend some of my money.
I think you have an in there.
Yeah, maybe Kyle can give me his employee discount again. And then I'll probably use the rest of the money for maybe a Bloody Mary mix, blue cheese olives.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I don't know, maybe some PBR. Yeah,
absolutely.
That'd be about it.
Spray that stuff all over the basement.
Yeah.
All right.
$2 grand will go a long way.
You guys are entertaining, and thanks for being good sports and coming on and waking up early. So, good. Best of luck to you. Hopefully, you get into the playoffs, Daulanos, because it wouldn't be the same without you. I love your roster. I think you've got a good shot, and we'll see what happens. And Kyle,
what about me?
Yeah.
You
just not
your
year, man. Hey, just not your year. It happens.
Nobody loves Kyle's roster.
You'll be back.
I don't even love my rosters.
You'll be back next year. You'll be the guy scoring 120 instead of getting 120 scored on him. I have faith. All right. So
thank you.
Appreciate you guys coming on. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Later.
Later.
Bye.
All right. That was Kyle and Joe, and they were coming at you live from Kyle's mother's basement. All right, next we have got to roll on with our Tier 1 recaps. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Pretty low scoring week in Tier 1. Buys, injuries, abysmal performances all around. We'll start with the high scorer of the week. That was Seattle Seahawks, 93 big points. They edged out Tier 1 imports with 88. And it was the Tier's two top-scoring teams, both in the same game, which pretty much sucks for Tier 1 imports since they would have beaten everybody else. Oh, those schedule makers. RG3 and BJGE both came on strong, and they came close but didn't have quite enough to overpower LSH and Gronk. I'm doing the whole initials thing because these names are way too long, but it threw me off a little bit there. All right, interesting strategy by the Hanks to start the inactive Alex Smith, but we'll get more into that later. Second game, Jurassic Pork, as we mentioned in the interview, starting to do pretty well. Despite being 3-8, they've got a big roster, 83 points, crushed illegal touching with just 46. The Pork's Andre Johnson almost beat illegal touching all by himself. Throw in a 20 spot from Des Bryant, and it was a cakewalk. Bo, Pitta, and Gold tallied a not-so-grand total of 1 point combined for illegal touching. Ick. All right, Teddy KGB, 79. He just keeps rolling along. Took out Confused Octopi, 67. Teddy got the GoPro Karma from last week appearing on the show, and he won his huge matchup with Balanced Attack despite some key buys and injuries. The Octopi, their primetime players Ray Rice and Brandon Marshall, playing Sunday night and Monday night respectively, were well defended and couldn't really rally the confused ones. Mr. Miyagi's Dojo, 72. Insanity Escape, also 72. Hope you like kissing your sister because of our first Tier 1 tie of the season. Insanity won the running back battle with a combined 33 points from LaShore and Reese. But Mr. Miyagi outkicked and outthrew Insanity Escape with Goskowski, and Brady. Loretton Rain Dogs hanging in there, 70 points, took out Team Kizzle. Renton won by a long bomb to Santana Moss. He had just that one catch, but that was good for 12 points. Definitely the difference in this game. Breeze was also solid and got to drop a knee in victory formation. Kizzle just couldn't break the plane. They got no touchdowns from anybody outside of Peyton Manning. Finally, the aforementioned Daulanos, 58. That's Joe's team. Took out the Germaniacs, 54. Like the Atlanta Falcons, Daewoo found a way to win despite 5 INTs from Matt Ryan. Injured quarterbacks killed the Germaniacs. as Deshaun Jackson and Heath Miller got no love from the replacement QBs filling in for Vic and Roethlisberger. All right, those are your recaps. Now it's time for the Tier 1 Top 12 poll for Week 11. A shift at the bottom, a shift at the top, but little movement in the middle. We had the number 12 team, new number 12 team, Insanity Escape. Ties will drive any owner insane. Jurassic Pork moves up to 3-8. All right, son, you've earned your way out of the cellar. Apparently, unlike Joe and Kyle. Illegal Touching, number 10, 3-8. Is it fantasy baseball season yet? Number 9, Mr. Miyagi's Dojo, 3-7-1. By the way, Miyagi is spelled Miyagi. If you're going to name your team after a legend, do it right. Number 8, Team Kizzle, 4-7, reduced to a Spiz Oiler the rest of the season. Number 7, Renton Rain Dogs, 5-6, still alive in Division III hunt, barely. Number 6, Seattle Seahanks, 6-5, losing one of the big three, might be the kill shot for your team. Number 5, Germaniacs, 6-5. It might be too little, too late, but you're clinging to playoff hopes by a fingernail. Number 4, Deulano, 7-4. Call them Daewoo Luckies this week because just about any other team in the league would have beaten them. Number 3, Tier 1 Imports, 8-3. Of course, you should have played Garrett Graham this week instead of last week. Number 2, Confused Octopi, 8-3. Bad time to start playing your worst fantasy football this season. And number 1, drumroll please. You know him, you love him, Teddy KGB. Came on the show last week, explained his method, the method to his madness, and got a big W, 9-2, and his magic number is down to 1. Okay, time for You Blew It, where we take a look at all the terrible calls Tier 1 owners made this week. They may not necessarily have lost, but bonehead moves certainly cost their team some serious points. First up, we have the Seattle Seahanks. Yes, you won, and congratulations. But wins and losses aren't the only important stat. Points matter. And as we discussed, your power ranking can come into play in the PFFL, especially in terms of the wild card. So you started a concussed Alex Smith to play it safe and get a win, but in doing that, you left Matt Schaub and his 39 points on the bench. Seattle Seahanks.
You blew it!
All right. Next up, Team Kizzle. He rode the hot hand, but you can't really blame him for that. Sometimes, though, it just doesn't work out, and a player who's due shows up and puts up points that you've been missing for quite a while. So he left the underperforming Vernon Davis on the bench and started Jermaine Gresham. Of course, if he had started Davis, he would have gotten a win. Team Kizzle.
You blew it!
And finally, Jurassic Pork started not one but 2 bye players. How hard is it to pick up a replacement? You could easily dump Sam Bradford and, Bernard Scott. Pathetic. Jurassic Pork.
You blew it!
You definitely blew it. All right, let's get on to some good news. You got the all-work team. These are the guys that did work. Matt Schaub had 39 points, 5 TDs, and over 500 yards. Wow, didn't see that coming. Thought Arian Foster would run all over the Jaguars, and Schaub would maybe throw 1 touchdown pass. Doesn't work that way. You never know in the NFL. Running back, LaRod Stevens howling, 19 points, and he's right back to a third down role with Beanie back, but that was a nice play for anybody who was picked by. Second running back, Marcel Reese. Fullback or not, this guy is good. Wide receiver, Andre Johnson. What is this, 2007? Second wide receiver, Justin Blackman. Congratulations to the 0.0000001 owners who actually had Justin Blackman active. Tight end, Rob Gronkowski. The 2 tight ends were the good news. Stay tuned for the bad news. Kicker, Matt Bryant, 13 points, whatever. All right, now let's see who stunk up the joint in the all-jerk team.
Well, the jerk store called, and they're running out of you.
The Jerk Store is proudly displaying Matt Ryan in the window this week. 5 interceptions instead of Matty Ice. He was Matty INT. Running back Reggie Bush, back for more. Bush is baked. Running back Danny Woodhead. You literally have to have a wooden head to start this guy confidently week to week. You never know what you're going to get. Wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald. I think the Cards pulled a concession guy selling beer onto the field to play quarterback this week. Not good for Fitzgerald. Speaking of crappy quarterbacks, that's who's thrown to Dwayne Bowe, who also came up very small. I'd want to be traded from the Chiefs as well. But wait, there's more, a lot more wide receivers. Denarius Moore, Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, Torrey Smith, Mike Wallace. The list goes on and on. All of those guys, 0 points, 1 point, 2 points, just plainly not enough points. Your tight end, Antonio Gates. Yep, he's lost it. And your kicker, Robbie Gould, was anything but golden. All right, need an injury replacement? Listen up for Inked and Axed. Your quarterback on the Inked side this week is Colin Keystone Kaepernick. Yep, I recommended him last week too, but under different circumstances this week. We've seen him play. He did very well, and he's actually being considered as the starter in San Francisco. Alex Smith might have gotten Wally pipped. You don't get difference makers like this on the waiver wire too often in Week 12. So if you need a quarterback at all, go after Kaepernick. Running back Ronnie Over the Hillman. Whoa, hey, easy now, throat. Ronnie Over the Hillman. First crack at McGahee's gig. Willis McGahee will be out for 6 to 8 weeks. Torn MCL, I believe. So might be a bit of a committee there. No Sean Moreno, Lance Ball, but Hillman will have first crack. Running back Jalen Chicken Parmalee. He should be a decent start at Tennessee this week. He was a surprise fill-in for Rashad Jennings, who was completely and utterly useless. Your wide receiver, just in time for the playoffs, Blackman, who might be helping fantasy squads come week 14, 15, and 16. We shall see. But having Chad Henne at quarterback should help him versus Blaine Gabbert, who pretty much ignored him. All right, second wide receiver, Julian Welker Jr. Edelman. He's finally getting healthy and getting a shot, and he's quick. Tight end, Dallas Cowboys Clark. He's been a nice red zone target for Freeman. All right, here's some guys you can kick to the curb if you want to make room for the inked guys on your roster. These are your axed guys. Rashad Jennings, it was not fun while it lasted. Titus Forever Young, benched by the Lions, and he can be dropped by you. Isaac St. John's Redman, one of the heads got chopped of Pittsburgh's three-headed monster. Feel free to let him walk. Brandon Lloyd, all null and void. I'd hang on to him, but if you're set at wide receiver and you're desperate for a running back, you could cut ties. He lost some serious snaps to Edelman this week. Not sure if that's a one-week thing, but stay tuned. Keep an eye on him. He has underperformed all season. Good for just about 4 or 5 points and nothing more. Andre Johnson must have listened to the show last week because I taunted him, and he didn't take too kindly to me joking about dropping him. Went off for 33 monster points, and okay, Andre, you're worth having on every roster. You win. On to bumps, bruises, strains, and sprains. We already mentioned a lot of these guys, so yeah, looking at Willis McGahee, the torn MCL, not good. LaShawn McCoy, concussion, he's iffy for this week. My money's on him playing. If you hear anything that he will not play, another guy to look at picking up would be Bryce Brown. And Gronkowski, well, you heard the good news, the 2 touchdowns. The bad news is a broken forearm. Now, raise your hand if you can see Gronk missing maybe a week, coming back the next week with a cast on his arm and just knocking defensive backs upside the head, and then going out and partying with the ladies. I can totally see that happening. All right, 2-minute drill. A few items in the bitch corner this week. First of all, ties. We saw that there was a PFFL Tier 1 tie this week. I am so anti-tie, I can't even tell you. I think that there should be a tiebreaker in every league because nobody likes a tie. I don't care if you go by bench points, by whoever's quarterback scores more points. You could flip a coin, whoever talks the best smack, whatever the case may be. But let's put an end to ties. Second, kind of already mentioned this a little bit, Ryan Lindley, he's the guy who came out of nowhere, and Ken Wisenhunt thought it would be a great idea to stick him in the middle of a game that the Cardinals had a great chance to win, thus blowing it. John Skelton would have won that game. He threw for 300 yards a few weeks ago. He's not the best, but he's at least semi-capable. Instead, you throw in a 6th-round rookie right into the fire after a bye week, and he was especially bad, ruining the days of every Cardinal not named Lerod Stevens howling. And I was, as a Fitzgerald owner, I was feeling the pain. So put an end to the Ryan Lindley era, please, and get Skelton back in there, at least until Kevin Cobb is back. What a disgusting team the Cardinals are fantasy-wise. And, of course, Beanie Wells will be back in the mess, and he'll probably get hurt in the second quarter, causing even more frustration. All right, finally, garbage time. Okay, Patriots, you're up like 231-24. Please feel free to rest Brady, Gronk, and the other starters anytime in the fourth quarter. You don't have to wait till the 2-minute warning. There's really no reason for Brady to be dropping back for a pass with 3 minutes on the clock. Absolutely nothing good can come of that. We need these guys for the playoffs, and so do you. All right, let's cap off the show with housekeeping time. Get more fantasy takes from the crew over at the-pffl.com. Follow us at Twitter at @the_PFFL and favorite the GoPro Fantasy Show on Blog Talk Radio. Thanks again to Kyle Buchanan and Joe Moline for rocking their interview. They're funny guys, but they take their fantasy seriously, so don't mess with them. All right, we'll be back for more fun and excitement next week. Until then, kick some ass in Week 12. Geek out. Take it home.